Hello, passengers, and welcome aboard the TV Pilot's License with service to Bucksnort, Nebraska. And bless this mess. We ask that you please fasten your headphones, secure your podcasting device, and remember that if you happen to have inherited a farm in the middle of nowhere, we love that for you. But that is not a reason to get an upgrade unless you're going to share your inheritance with everyone on the plane.
Welcome to the TV Pilot's License. My name is Geoff Kerbis, joined by Rich Inman and Max Singer. How you boys doing today?
Oh, Jeff, you know me, but I am too blessed to be best.
Rich, how are you?
I'm also planning my exodus out of New York right now, so let's do it.
Well, gentlemen, this week we are talking about a show that I'm going to be honest, I have never heard about until yesterday.
You're welcome.
We're going to be talking about Liz Meriweather's Bless This Mess, which you can find on Hulu. But before we dive too deep into the show, some of the things we love, some of the things that cause us pause, and some fun trivia at the end. Max, what is this show all about?
Here at TV Pilot's License, we break down and analyze the pilot episodes of some of TV's most famous, or in some cases, infamous shows. We learn more about how these shows came to be and were originally made, if they're effective pilot episodes and making us want to watch more, if we think they'd be made today. Go back and stream our old episodes from wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out on YouTube and TikTok to see our smiling faces. And if it is your first time flying with us, then welcome aboard.
Before we go to commercial, gentlemen, I have one question for you. Liz Meriweather, right, is very well known for her work on New Girl. This is a project that followed New Girl. Is there any single producer, writer, creator that you just are like blindly follow no matter what the project is because you just love their work so much?
Absolutely.
Rich, you're nodding your head yes, so I want to hear what you're thinking.
Any Tina Fey, Robert Carlock show I'm watching immediately, without a doubt. they have me for life, unfortunately. I have purchased the card and I have tattooed the barcode on my ass.
Max, what about yourself?
I've got to go with anything Mike Schur pretty much at this point, even though he seems to have been exiled to Streamer Island with everything being on Netflix and Peacock now. I'm ready, set, go for any new thing with his name on it.
And spoiler alert, surprise, Bill Lawrence. It has to be anything Bill Lawrence for me. It's just I think that there's so many great things that he has created throughout the years that like I have to at least give it a shot, if not a full season of episodes, before
just
I say,
a big
you know what?
rooster guy.
Yeah, maybe not
Huge.
for me, but also I just love his stuff.
It's also fun with people of this size and caliber as they start to bring other people under their wing too, where it's like, oh, this person wrote on something that I created and now I'm like show running for them and like helping them get a leg up. Am I watching Sterling Point just because it's Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage? Who's to say?
Also, if it says from the creators of 911, yes, you get at least 5 episodes from me. That's just a rule in my household. Well, gentlemen, before we go into Bless This Mess, a little bit deeper, a quick word from our sponsor. Well, let's dive into this show. Once again, if you want to watch this pilot before you listen to us, you can find this on Hulu. But a quick synopsis. A newlywed couple's plan to leave the big city for a quieter life in Nebraska doesn't go as expected. 100% what we watched. I'll hit the music. We can end it. But
Doesn't
Max,
go as expected. Really nailed it.
Can you tell us a little bit about how this show got made?
Today, we're talking about the pilot episode of Bless This Mess, which originally aired on April 16th, 2019 on ABC, and the show's two creators, Liz Meriweather and Lake Bell. We recently covered Meriweather on this podcast for our look back at the pilot of New Girl. Check that episode out. After beginning in the theater, Meriweather found mainstream Hollywood success with her script for the comedy feature No Strings Attached before developing New Girl at Fox. Following the run of New Girl, you can see her work in the ABC series Single Parents and the more recent miniseries The Dropout, Dying for Sex, and Furious. Lake Bell is an actor and writer known for roles on Boston Legal, Children's Hospital, and How to Make It in America, among others. Her professional relationship with Meriweather includes roles in both No Strings Attached and New Girl. Bell made her writing-directing debut with the 2013 indie comedy In a World, which debuted at the Sundance Film Festival. Absolutely love that
I
movie if
fucking
you've not
love
seen
that
it.
movie. It's so
Fred
good.
Melliman Hive. Today's show was originally developed at Fox back in 2017 while New Girl was still on the air. The show received a production commitment and even filmed off schedule the following June to accommodate Bell's feature film slate. This marked Meriwether's third pilot commitment in 2018 alongside Single Parents at ABC and Daddy Issues at Fox alongside Aaron Foster, which centered around a single dad, played by Don Johnson, whose relationship with his adult daughters becomes complicated when he starts dating one of their best friends. It was not picked up the series.
That's
also,
the Boca Raton special right there. That's what we know.
The mess of basically... because
he went from Miami Vice to Boca Raton, buddy.
Aaron Foster's dad is David Foster, who married Catherine McPhee. Like, the mess to write a show literally about your dad's age gap relationship is mwah.
Oh boy.
After being filmed, Fox's ownership and leadership was in transition with their sale to Disney. To avoid expiring options and to keep the project together, a 6-episode order was given to ABC. Mm-hmm. Today's pilot is also directed by star Lake Bell, in addition to co-writing with Meriwether.
We've never done another Lake Bell property, have we?
No, this is our first Lake Bell property. We never did How to Make It in America, or we haven't.
You can get a property on Lake Bell? Oh, look at you.
Oh.
Lake House, baby.
Rich is doing great. Well, let's dive into this show. This show starts off like a punch in the fucking face. You are getting slammed with exposition from the beginning. And Rich, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, why is today different than any other day? Because boy, is Lake Bell, aka Rio, going to tell us immediately.
A therapist is firing her patients in person. That's a first. That is she's going through her entire client list of therapy patients, and this is just like an absolute writer's dream of like mapping all of their neuroses onto each of these characters with how they deal with it. That she is giving up everything and moving to Nebraska because one of her husband.
Her husband.
Yep.
Yeah. Her husband, played by podcaster Dak Shepard. They're moving to nowhere, Nebraska, to become farmers. And all of them immediately get super involved in Lake Bell's life, which is, I think, very normal and reasonable. And she seems like a great therapist.
Max, this intro is so fast paced. Like, not only meeting Lake Bell's character and all of her former patients, but even the ease with which we meet her husband. It almost seems like a happenstance or a chance that we get to meet Dak Shepard on the streets of New York. And I'm curious for you, what were you thinking to this point of the pilot?
The entire first few pages feel like the writer's just saying, we are aware how much this is like both Newhart and Green Acres, so we're going to skip forward to Nebraska as quickly as we can. And the exposition, it is so thick from this character of Rio, played by Lake Bell. She dances in the sand. She says things like, how can I not move to a farm in Nebraska? And my husband's great aunt died and left it to us, and now I live in a Pinterest page. And like, exposition done. We've taken it and we've moved along. And then we meet Dak Shepard, and the first time we see him, there's a pair of bongos stacked on top of some moving boxes in a U-Haul truck, which tell me everything I need to know about Mike, his character.
I want to talk about the work this pilot is trying to do at building a believable relationship between Lake Bell and Dak Shepard's character. And the way we get that, I don't know about the two of you, but driving across the country to the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, really is a great way to show us how do these two characters get along. And I guess, Rich, how believable do you think this relationship is between Lake Bell and Dak Shepard's characters?
I think they do a good job of couching the exposition of their relationship in like with this phone call to her mom. This is you can tell that they do love and support each other, but the way they keep hammering home the we have never fought thing, they're blindly following each other places. They're like, oh my God, brand new adventure. I love my husband so much. I'm like, oh, something's going to go wrong immediately. There's no chance that this is going to last with how hard this is eventually going to be. That's basically how I felt with a fantastic stereotypical Jewish mother phone call. Man, I'm gonna stay off my high horse that I entirely ran into the ground when we did Nobody Wants This. But boy, there's only one Jewish mom on TV, huh?
Well,
let's talk about Susie Essman. Let's talk about these cameos.
She is arguably one of the best parts of this pilot, but it is such a...
I would say this mother character is the part for me that had me thinking, oh, what's that? What's that I see? A little bit of a bright spot, and like, can I tear away at the things covering it and maybe find more of this good writing? And Max, I think this was the first instance where we might have seen like, hey, we might have something here, because this was really where this show seemed to find some sort of rhythm.
Susie Essman is an absolute spark plug, and my one complaint is that I wish her scenes weren't just over the phone. I wish this character was in the frame, interacting with people, because her energy and her weirdness, for lack of a better word, is what this show needs. In a show that is two very, very normal protagonists in Mike and Rio, to have Rio's mom shouting things like, does your husband have a large or interesting penis that is tempering your ability to make rational decisions? To have a character who later on yells at her daughter to put a cow on the phone. That is what I need in this show, because I'm just going to say my biggest pet peeve now is how normal and how same Mike and Rio are. They are very like middle of the road protagonists, and I need at least one of them to be
weird,
15 to 20% weirder.
Here's what I think happened there, Max, and I think it's the writer / director of it all. I think it is like if you're so worried about how you're going to be portrayed in the show itself, as you're directing, like, you don't have the opportunity to throw like too much, like any extra proclivities or like things that would make your character captivating.
Well, one of the ways that I feel like this show is trying to bring the weird in this instance is the ensemble that we have, because it's not just, Rio's mom. It's the people that we're meeting in this small town in Nebraska who seem to be bringing a little bit of the weird, right? We have the man that inexplicably lives in the house lives in the barn of the house that they have inherited. We have the two rival neighbors who want to just buy the farm so that they can turn it into a cattle ranch. But I don't want to do too much explaining. I want to hear, because this show, if you look at it on paper, has a bunch of people that you will not only recognize, but you like to see on your TV. Rich, who were a couple that you were sort of just like, oh, shit, okay.
I'm gonna save the truly craziest one for last, but Ed Begley Jr., anything that he's in, I'm watching immediately. That's my dude. That's Waiting for Guffman. That's my Christopher Guest all-star. And he is just like, I mean, speaking of like the dynamism from Susie Essman's, like, you get hard laughs from Ed Begley Jr. in whatever he's in, just from his appearance, the way he carries himself. He has like such a great way of like non-verbally committing to a character. But that was fantastic. Lennon Parham was fantastic. Obviously, like, David Koechner is the best. Like, but yeah, I mean, you are set up with oh my God, they're in this too. How have I never heard of this show?
Yeah. I mean, Max, for you have this whole cast of characters. Do you think they're using them well, or maybe even a little bit too sparingly in this pilot?
I mean, at the end of the day, this is a story about Mike and Rio, and so everyone else that we meet is going to be adjacent to boosting their hero's journey. But I've got to give a shout out to Pam Grier, who's my who's my favorite here too. The legend herself. And I love this character of Constance on paper. This person in the small town who is the local store owner, and she's also the sheriff, and she also runs the community theater. Yeah. Her line about "we did Les Mis, I played a French hoe" coming from Pam Grier's mouth.
I was cracking up. I was losing my mind.
That's
like
one
we
of
got
the best
Foxy
lines.
Brown in this pilot.
Yeah, that's one of the best lines of this. And those are the people I want to meet, because I'm like, okay, I know automatically every single episode Pam Grier could be doing whatever career. She's going to be doing everything in this town. It's like, what does Pam Grier do here today? It kind of reminds me of what they did with Chris Elliott in Schitt's Creek a little bit, where it's like he's the mayor and jack of all trades in this community.
Yes.
And then the scene, the perhaps flirtation between her and Ed Begley Jr. is just two legends of the screen, and I wanted so much more than whatever those 10 seconds were.
Yeah, I was losing my mind during that scene because you had two of the most established actors in this show just being able to go at each other and bring the weird that I think we've been seeking, right, in this pilot of like, there has to be that odd, there has to be that if we think about Liz Meriweather and we look back at even what we did with New Girl, everyone has their own little flavor of weird. And that scene in particular in the convenience store brings the weird I'm looking for, and I want expanded throughout this entire pilot.
But that's the thing for me, is that even if Mike and Rio aren't going to be the weirdest, even if they're the straight men, because they're the fish out of water in this town, they are so similar. She is a therapist and he is a music writer. Yep. The dynamic of he is so gung-ho about this move and she is fighting it, which is the same husband-wife dynamic as Newhart. It's the same husband-wife dynamic as Green Acres. Yep. I don't even buy it because Mike doesn't feel different enough from Rio. I never really get any wants or interesting perspective out of him. Once we say I inherited it, that's left to be enough. And for me, it made me want more of like why for Mike. Like I needed more out of that character if he's going to be driving the ship.
Well, Max, I think that Mike sees himself a little bit of a armchair expert, if you will, of repairing a house in disrepair and becoming sickos. A farmer. and like that
that's a little podcast humor for the folks at home.
No, but it's one of those things where I think that when they were in the writer's room, they were like, oh, that's how Mike's different. Mike thinks he can do anything, which is just like, is that enough? Is that enough? Like weird? I don't even think that's a good character trait to just be like, because you literally have Pam Grier's character doing everything.
Right.
And then you're like, Mike thinks he can do everything, but he doesn't even like fail at it. He just sort of like, he like ehs his way through life.
That's Brooklyn white guy confidence right there. And ironically, exactly. What's so funny is that the show came out in 2019, and then a year later, everyone would be moving to a fucking farmhouse upstate.
Everyone left Brooklyn to move to a farm. Yeah.
One of the things that I think we've found while we do this show is like good shows create these really heightened moments for us, right? Especially when it comes to conflict of like, hey, we get that all is lost moment in the pilot to really give us our mission statement of what's going to happen moving forward. And our all is lost moment is our two protagonists get stuck on their roof of their broken down house during the middle of what is supposedly going to be a really bad storm. And I guess I'm curious for the two of you, do you think that it was heightened enough? Were you concerned at all? Were you like even willing to look away from the screen to check your text messages?
I like to think the incoming really bad storm is a metaphor for them finally having a fight.
Wow. What writing?
Yeah, that was really good, Max. And that they mentioned the storm so many times in this pilot, and this takes place over like the course of like what, 2 days? Like this whole like them being in Nebraska thing is like, really, you're worried? all these people are worried about this one storm for so many, like for multiple days. Like it rains in Nebraska all the time, I assume. Who can say? No one's ever been there, but yeah.
Spoken like people from New York and LA.
Yeah,
right
exactly. Spoken like a coastal elite right here.
Well, it doesn't rain in LA, so I assume it doesn't rain anywhere else. Yeah, so they have this inciting thing that they're building it up to. They have their out, which is the family living next door, like offering to buy their property, like basically right off their hands. It's like, you want out of this situation? Here you go. And so this basically is like, it's kind of a hero's journey, like cycle that they throw these two characters into. It's like the denial of the way out or something like that. The denial of the journey and then choosing to take it. But yeah, you could tell from minute 40, or I'm sorry, from minute 4 of this
pilot, did you watch?
I watched it 3 times, baby. No one's blessed more of this mess. And also, boy, really tempting the fate by giving a very easy TV critics headline for this of calling your show a mess. That's really poking the bear.
But glass half full, you also have the word bless.
Max, I mean, for you, we have this heightened moment. We have the out. We have the relieving of tension of actually having a fight. What are you feeling towards? Because that's like at minute 16 of this 22-minute pilot. Mm-hmm. What are you feeling in this moment?
I understand the resolution that Rio has to, I guess, see Mike's side. It's always the woman who has to take the man's side and see his point of view in these things. But at least we get them on the same page. I do just feel like I want, like everything else between them, I want it to be bigger. If there's going to be a blowout, I really want to see it. If there's going to be an all is lost moment, to have it just be a conversation, to me, you've already had them fall through a floor, you've had leaks in the house, you've had all these things. Like, you can take it to that next level, and our after the storm, our resolution moment is this sort of deus ex machina of Rio's mom, Donna, making a phone call that has, you know, the sheriff has the constable of Constance show up to get them down from the roof. Like, even the way it's fixed is this act of God, you know, the Jewish one, by phone call from New York.
Well, this pilot does end, you know,
it sure does.
Yes,
and I watched the whole thing
2 more times.
I watched it thrice, baby.
This pilot does end with us seeing, you know, a community that maybe was questioning these 2 outsiders coming together to help these 2 outsiders as they celebrate what looks like a sign of hope that they might actually have some semblance of an idea of what they are doing. But that is our pilot, and I have a question for you. Were there any things that you loved about this pilot that maybe you'd like to give a little bit more shine to? And while Rich is thinking really, really hard about each of the views he'd had, Max, I got
one for every viewing.
Yeah.
Touched on this already, but the scene where Pam Grier is very seductively explaining what jeggings are to Ed Begley Jr. is
fantastic.
Such a fun bit of weird, and it's what I wanted so much more of this show to be.
Yeah. Oh, people just being unbearably horny towards Ed Begley Jr.
Yeah, man. The 80s are back.
For me, and this is, you know, it's a little bit of a backhanded compliment in that what I really liked was the joke pacing for certain scenes. There was the way that Kay and Bo talk to each other has like a lot of like meat there. You can tell that they're both improvised trained. there's the line they're talking about their son is like, I called a beaver until you asked me to stop. So that was like that was all you needed. It was perfect. That was perfectly written. But the patter of it, I could see the footprint, or I'm sorry, not the footprints. I could see the thumbprints of New Girl on it. And in the same way that the Fall and Rise of Reggie Dinkins feels like 30 Rock pacing, that is very similar to what I'm feeling here with New Girl, and that there's just kind of like the one beat off, like the Stuart Copeland, the weird jazz way that they talk to each other. It's a 5/8 time signature level joke, and that's what I really liked about it.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I do think that we gave our appropriate flowers to Susie Essman and Pam Grier, and they're very much deserved in this pilot because they shine in their moments on screen. But I'm gonna, take that small things that I loved and go right into my wait a minute moments, which is at the highest point when they were in the storm, I was rooting for both of these characters to get hit by lightning. I hated both of them so fucking
This got 2
much.
seasons.
We're gonna talk about how it got 2 seasons, but
holy fuck.
There's something to be said about finding something you're good at and sticking with it. And Dax, you found your podcast, bud, and that's me saying that lightly. So yeah, I want to hear from you two. Were there any moments that caused you pause in this pilot that maybe you want to speak to a little bit more?
I mean, I'll jump in here, and we're going to go back to even older sitcoms. Green Acres. You have this character played by Eddie Albert, who is a prominent, wealthy New York City attorney, and his wife, this Hungarian socialite played by Ava Gabor, and they are so weird. And that show breaks the fourth wall, and there are so many jokes just at the expense of her opulence and also her Eastern European accent, but it's just so weird. And in Newhart, he is a travel and history writer who thinks that he can run this colonial inn in Vermont, and it's just it's weirder, and there's clear stakes as to why that character wants to take over this farm life. And I just don't understand what the stakes are for Dax Shepard walking in the footsteps of Bob Newhart and Eddie Albert. I don't ever feel drawn to this character of Mike. I don't think that his want is actually convincing against Rio, who's the force trying to drive him back to New York and to do the sale. It just doesn't feel like a fleshed out enough character to be like, yes, this person is steering the ship. This person is going to make it in Nebraska. This person can do it. I've just never bought into Dax.
One more show I'm going to throw in really quickly is we did Evermore, and that was another, hey, we moved from the big city to a small... or Everwood, excuse me. And we moved from a big city to a small town, and people are wondering why. And Rich, I want to hear a little bit more about your wait a minute moment.
So if you guys can remember 2.5 minutes ago when I complimented the writing.
Yeah, 2.5 Men. I remember 2.5 Men.
The way that Rio and Mike talk to each other is not a way that two human beings talk to each other. Yes. And it just feels like, and I know it's hard, and not to be an armchair expert about writing, but we got two. There's just I know it's hard to escape that feeling of seeing the words come off the page and trying to give two characters who only exist in your mind some chemistry that looks real on screen. But boy, is this not it? I have no belief at all that Lake Bell or Dax Shepard have lived anywhere but Los Angeles or New York, and this is not rooted in any sort of experience. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna one up you, Rich. I'm not
Okay, wow.
convinced that they have ever had sex. Like that is the relationship that they give off. But I have a question for the two of you. Is
We have to fight to have sex.
yeah, we have to. That's the rule.
That's the rule.
I have to feel terrible about myself.
There's another way, buddy.
Yeah. Nope. I have
we'll
to
talk
feel,
off mic.
Oh, okay.
I have to feel awful. No, my question for the two of you is, I think that one of the things that maybe might give this show a little bit more is if we have that weird brought by the people who are portraying, the Rio and Mike in this instance. Is there a character or an actor that you think they could have brought in to maybe be either Mike or Rio that could have done a little bit of a better job? And I'll start off to get the juices flowing. Jake Johnson, I know he was doing New Girl at this point in time, but his way of portraying and like when Jake Johnson even tries to portray normal, it's weird. And I love that about him. It is the Chicago quintessential, raised by only his mother. Like there's something about his cadence and timing that makes everything a little bit odd. And I absolutely adore it. And I think that energy brought to Mike would have maybe made this a little bit better. But is there someone that maybe it would be a little bit hard to recast Rio since Lake Bell made this show? But
sure.
Hey, I'm willing to hear your choices. Be the producer, be the armchair expert, Max, and pick out that casting.
I'll let you get away with mine there. Anyone who's not 6'3" and jacked. I don't know if that's such a big request. I mean, there's plenty of actors who are not 6'3" and jacked. It's Hollywood, but give me someone like a Charlie Day who I could ostensibly believe that they don't know how to use like a saw and like how to saw wood. Give me anyone that has more of that neurotic energy, a little bit more of that end of their rope. There's something about Dax in this role where it feels too poised. It feels too controlled. It doesn't feel out of the realm of possibility enough. I need someone that brings a little bit more of that frantic. So yeah, I mean, Charlie Day would be the first one that comes out for me.
Rich, do you have someone?
That's a great one. I mean, personally, like, if we're gonna go dip back into the New Girl pool, I feel like having Zoe Deschanel would be a perfect fit for this. I feel like having Lamorne Morris would be a perfect fit for this. They just need someone with a little bit more like comedy dynamism, and I can't think of anyone off the top of my head who's like a very New York TV actor. Where it's just like it's so fish out of water for them to do this.
Billy Crystal was busy at this point in time, and that would have been a very inappropriate relationship.
We're doing City Slickers.
Oh, we're doing
now.
City Slickers again. Yeah.
Let's do it.
But all of these characters are weirder, and this feels like the first time we've done a pilot where I think we're all kind of getting to the same point, which is there are all of these adjacent pieces we like. We have said so many complimentary things about the ensemble on this, and every single time we get to our leading pair, we just kind of go, eh.
We don't want to talk about them, unfortunately. But, I would be curious. We don't have an in-flight question this week, but I'd love to hear from our audience. If
no one else has heard of this show.
If you have a suggestion of if you could recap, if you've seen this show, first of all, I have a lot of questions for you, and we can talk in my DMs. But if you have a suggestion of who should have been cast as our protagonist instead of Lake Bell and Dax Shepard, I want to hear it in our comments of this episode. And if you have an in-flight question for us for a future episode, you can go to tvpilotslicense.com or leave us a text or shoot us a voicemail at 213-290-1713. Before we talk about the history of this show, a quick word from our sponsor.
Word. I'm sponsored today.
Let's talk about the history of this show. This show had 2 seasons and 26 episodes, which, I'm here to ask how. And I found out the first season was only 6 episodes long, based off of a little bit of what Max told us on the agreement for that first show deal with ABC. But that first episode got 4.72 million viewers, which for network television, not the best. But here's the thing that was interesting to me. Everyone sort of stayed on the boat. Because by the last episode, episode 26, the show still had 3.82 million viewers come in. So it was a very steady decline. Like we're talking about like 1 to 2% per episode decrease.
Interesting.
And that is something that I think executives at ABC said, like, well, some people like it, so like maybe more should.
People really love Dax Shepard and his sister-in-law, Lake Bell.
I do want to make sure that I mention the second season of this show debuted in late 2019 and went through to May 5th of 2020. So, hey, we were all stuck in our houses, which might also be a reason why the show had the viewership it did.
I had 24 hours of waking horror, and I still didn't bless this mess.
Yeah, put that on a cross stitch. Wow, that is more viewers than the entire population of the state of Nebraska, Geoff.
Wow.
That's who
well, you just blew my game of the week.
You know how you guys always are just like, I can't believe people watch this. I can't believe people watch this. This is the first time where I'm like, who are the people who watch this and what world are they in?
People who are Liz Meriweather fans, people who watched New Girl. I mean, the audience is there. Obviously, people wanted to see what she was going to do next.
Well, Max, talking about what she'll do next, let's talk about awards. If you listen closely, that is the sound of a tumbleweed because no nominations and no awards for this show.
There was a surfboard on the roof of the house in this pilot, though.
That's true.
It was not a Teen Choice Award. I am happy to say I know that for a fact. But that is the history of Bless This Mess. Rich, can you bless us with your game of the week?
We've never had an emptied history before.
Not even or a nomination to be found or to be seen anywhere.
Oh no. Well,
I tried. I looked everywhere. I looked for any form of a nomination I could. I will say this, while it didn't get a traditional nomination for anything, they did get an award for like their equity
most TV.
Equity and diversity of folks who are helping on set and behind the scenes. So that actually is
okay, great.
Pretty cool.
We love Below the Line. Let's do it.
Rich, it's time for the game of the week.
Well, let's talk about some fun facts about Nebraska. I know everybody's thrilled, so keep up the energy. So this pilot wasn't the only bomb in Nebraska. Did you know Nebraska was actually bombed by a U.S. adversary during a war? Who was that adversary? A, Germany. B, England. C, Japan. D, Russia.
I'm going to say, you said England?
England is number 2, yeah.
I'm going to say B, England.
I'm going to say Japan.
Geoff is right. It was Japan. Japan launched thousands of weather balloons affixed with bombs, and one of them went off in the middle of Omaha, Nebraska, not injuring anyone, thankfully. And the U.S. government told newspapers not to report it, so they didn't send more. Okay. Ugh, littering. Which prehistoric animal was so prevalent in Nebraska that the remains of that animal have been discovered in each of Nebraska's 93 counties? Is it A, the saber-toothed tiger, B, woolly mammoth, C, the dodo, or D, the pterodactyl?
I'm going A, saber-toothed tiger.
I want to go the dodo so damn badly, but I'm going to go the woolly mammoth. Plains, baby.
Geoff, a clean sweep for today. It was the woolly mammoth. 93 Nebraska counties they have found woolly mammoth remains. Isn't that nuts? All right, anyways.
Put them on the offensive line.
Yeah, exactly. Those Huskers need help. Well, gentlemen, Rich, first of all, thank you so much for your game of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Gentlemen, as our flight comes to a land, I have 2 questions for you, as I do every episode. What if I came in and said I had 5 questions for you, and we're going to go through them very, very stringently? But no, I have 2 questions for you, and the first is based off of the pilot and the pilot alone. There are 25 more episodes of this show. Are you going to give this 1 more episode? And the second question is on the idea of we started this episode talking a little bit about the idea of there are folks that we follow no matter what they make. And this is one that appears to have an audience that followed Liz Meriweather to watch this and see if this mess was in fact blessed. Should writers be given a free pass, or do
Maybe
we want to give some new blood, some chances to try to make some TV for prime time? So, Rich, I'm going to start with you.
No, not watching another goddamn episode of this. However much I really enjoy the cast, which eventually includes Langston Kerman, which I found out, who I adore. But yeah, I mean, look, there are normally a lot of things that end up on the cutting room floor if you're a successful writer that don't get picked up. This is one that probably should have stayed there. But there's Dying for Sex is like, I mean, got a ton of Emmy noms, right? Like the, fantastic show, and shout out to writer on that show, Keisha Zolar. I definitely think they will keep getting more chances. It's Hollywood, but this is just like a miss from a good writer, if I could say that. Yeah.
Max, what about yourself?
We named so many other things over the course of this podcast that involve people from New York City going off the grid for rural adventures. And I will watch any of those other things we listed, including City Slickers, including City Slickers 2, the search for Curly's gold, before I tune into more of this show. It is, like we said, it feels like a blip on the radar. It feels like a miss because Meriwether's been on an absolute heater the last couple of years between the Elizabeth Holmes miniseries, The Dropout, between Dying really for Sex, and now the rave reviews coming in for Furious. She's crushing it right now and getting Emmy nominations and winning people awards. And I would be shocked if this didn't just feel like a passing thing that we would look at her resume and go, oh, really? She did that too? We have had plenty of instances on this podcast, which I think is more of what you're getting at, Geoff, where someone had something amazing 25 years ago and they keep getting things that just feel like diminishing returns. I love Sex in the City. I'm not watching more Kitchen Confidential, and I'm not watching more Emily in Paris. You know what I mean? At a certain point, it's like, what do you still have in the tank as a writer? I do not think this is indicative of that. I think it's just a weird little blemish on an otherwise fantastic 15-year run.
All right. For myself, absolutely not. I am not watching another episode of this show. And if I'm going to watch something about people or a family going from New York out west, it's going to be An American Tale, Fievel Goes West. Now, as far as the idea of folks who are successful in one thing, getting another shot and another shot and another shot all the time, I think it's a very interesting world we're in right now for the economy of attention, right? That is being brought up more and more. And because attention is so limited, I think network producers are also being a lot more stringent with what they greenlight and what they say no to. We're seeing that with pilot season, right? Pilot season used to be able to employ a lot of Hollywood, and now it's much more reduced in who gets a job for that pilot season. With that being said, I think that this was just a bad game, right? Pitchers have bad games all of the time, and they're not going to win every single outing. They're not even going to last all 9 innings anymore. What type of world do we live in? But I think that this is a instance where it was a learning opportunity, and we all learned today on this episode of TV Pilot's License, and this flight has come to a land. But before we go, I want to make sure that folks can find you wherever you want to be found. Rich, where can folks find you?
You can find me digging up all those sweet woolly mammoth bones, and you can also find me on Instagram at Damn That's Rich. You can find original sketch comedy from Max and myself over on TikTok at Dadwagon Comedy.
Max?
You can catch me playing a French hoe in the local production of Les Mis and on all things social media at Maxwell Singh.
And in anything else you're in.
And you can find me trying to talk to a cow through a cell phone. But if you're looking for me on social media, you can find me at Run Jeff Run. If you're looking for the TV Pilot's License, you can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can see our smiling faces on YouTube as well as Spotify with video podcasts. And you can listen to us on any major podcasting platform wherever you want to find us at TV Pilot's License. If you have a question for the show or maybe for our next episode, shoot those at tvpilotslicense.com or 213-290-1713 for text and voicemail. Make sure to look out for some of the stuff that we have coming up. But with the plane landed and the seatbelt sign off, we look forward to flying the bright skies of the TV world with you again soon. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies and your fingers on the dial.
Corn.